Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this Exebenus webinar. My name is Anne Uberg. I'm the VP of Commercialization, and I'd like to thank you for taking the time to join us. A lot of us are working from home these days due to the coronavirus, so I hope you're all staying safe and doing well with your families. Today, we're going to show you how Exebenus templates can be used to build your digital operating procedures faster and easier. Let us just go through a very quick agenda. We will start with just let me introducing a little bit about Exebenus and Exebenus Pulse. Then we'll go into the meat, which is the actual presentation and demonstration of Exebenus Pulse. And then we'll do some Q&As at the end. The questions panel will be open all the time, and I'm going to monitor that. So if you have questions and you want to post them during the presentation, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we'll take some questions towards the end. We in Exebenus are all about digitalization and digitalization of drilling and completions operations. Our goal and ambition is to present operators, service providers, and rig crew with digital operating procedures that are consistent, standardized, and easy to understand. And as a result of that, it should reduce the non-productive time and invisible lost time. By being digital, that means that we can integrate also with the drilling control system or the rig control system to facilitate automation. Our expertise is focused on drilling and wells domain. And of course, our scientists and software engineers and architects are developing and facilitating a solution with an open API that enables integration into the various workflows and work processes you may have. So let me show you a little bit about Exebenus Pulse and the application itself. So the application consists of the build and the run module. The build module is where you build the procedure and where you connect it to the string or to the wellbore. The run module is where you connect to the procedure to WITSML or to real-time data so that you can track and validate execution of the procedure and warn if you're not following the plan. In addition to these two modules, we have machine learning agents that help you analyze the data that you have coming in with real-time and predict hazardous situations such as differential sticking or wellbore conditions, which again could indicate stuck pipe potential. But let me introduce you to our presenter today, which is Namit Singh. He is a well digitalization manager here at Exebenus.
Thank you, Anasif. Hello, everyone. For today's webinar, I'll explain you the workflow for generating digital procedures in Exebenus Pulse application. Before I start, a brief introduction about myself. I work as digitalization manager here. I have a petroleum engineering background, and I've worked in field and office-based engineering positions with both operating companies and service providers. Being a drilling and wells engineer, it was one of my main job responsibilities to prepare these operational procedures. Here's a list of main takeaways from today's webinar on Exebenus Pulse. Firstly, I'll explain digital work process for generating operation procedures in a swift and easy manner. Show you how we incorporate insights, namely risks, checks, lessons learned, and best practices into the digital procedures and ensure these are available during operations. How application generates and stores template set of procedures for different operations. And lastly, digital approval process embedded within the software, which simplifies real-time collaboration between the office and field location. So operating procedures may look different from company to company and are called by a lot of names that you're all aware of, I'm sure. It could be called drillers, instructions, detailed operating procedures, rig action plan, etc. And what you see here is a traditional procedure, which is normally made in either Word or Excel format. It's a rich text document containing a lot of information and different elements. It's a mixture of procedure steps, operational parameters, there is fluid information, all the checks and risks, etc. are compiled in a text document. And most often these are copied from previous operation, which leaves room for errors and missing information. The various data which comprises a procedure is often stored in different applications and databases, meaning it's quite time consuming for one to find the information that you need to include in your procedure. We see that there is a requirement to upgrade existing process if we intend to optimize rig operations, drive standardization, and make an advance towards automation. So I'll be presenting you the digital solution for creating these operational procedures with the help of Exebenus Pulse software. So what we have done here is we have digitalized the operating procedure, making sure all the required information and elements required for a complete, optimized, and quality assured procedure are available for all users, be it on the rig or in the office, in a standardized and structured format. The application brings together most relevant information within a single platform so that necessary details are available during the execution of actual procedure. And from our experience, we have seen that this workflow brings a lot of advantages with it. It's definitely a more efficient way of building procedure, in our opinion. It provides consistent and standardized format utilizing previous learnings. And lastly, it's quality assured by the embedded approval process. Before I jump into the demonstration, let's look at how we have defined template procedures in our software. Template consists of details from a previously executed operation, along with all the insights that I named previously, which are assigned to the procedure. Put simply, this would be the most detailed procedure available for a set of operation. An example for template set could be a set of procedures prepared specifically for HPHT drilling performed in a deep water environment. A user can build new procedure from a template procedure by using copy as draft functionality in the software, which I will show you in a brief while. And this workflow is quite similar to what drilling engineers are accustomed to while building operational procedures in Word or Excel format, where you are using a historical procedure available. The only difference being that these templates are based on a company's standard operating practices rather than a personal experience and competency of a drilling supervisor. And also the templates in the software are reviewed and updated during post-operational review. So it gives us proper benchmarking. Next up, I'll show you the application. So we are looking at the application homepage with the list of procedures available. This is a cloud-hosted solution, but same can be hosted in a local environment. Synchronization rules set up for information allows user to view same and updated information independent of the hosting solution. And as you can see, the information is structured in a way that user can view the link between procedure and the string as well as the wellbore. Status can be updated within the detailed view of the procedure, and that's dependent on how user privileges have been set up. We will go through status change or approval process at the end of this demonstration. During the workflow being demonstrated, I'll build a new procedure based on a template procedure by using copy as draft option. So let's go ahead and see how this functionality actually works. So what I'll do is copy a procedure as draft and base my new procedure on the basis of this template procedure saved for a 17.5-inch section drilling. I have this draft procedure open in a new window. So this is an example of a digital procedure. And what this functionality does is it allows user to easily generate a detailed procedure in few clicks while including all the relevant information like procedure steps, notes, and the insights. Things like operational parameters, flow rate, RPM, weight on bed, etc., which are associated to different procedure steps within this procedure will need to be filled out and verified by either the drilling supervisor, drilling superintendent, since this is operations dependent and might vary for different wells. The new procedure then built can be assigned to our upcoming well or operations. So for this demonstration, we will start with the left side of this page view and make our way into further details of procedure page view. I'll start with the overview tab where user assigns general information populated in a procedure header like wellbore, rig, section face. The group assignment, what you see here, it could be based on a rig team structure or team responsible for running the operations. It's the group assignment which decides positions responsible for procedure approval, and it is set up in software's administration module. There could be one or more approvers within this group responsible for final approval of a procedure after the review. As part of the procedure header, status and objective are filled out as free text information. Free text information is copied over from template format for further editing and review. Lastly, there are fields available for filling out operational constraints applicable to this activity and attachments, which could possibly be something like deck layout drawing or tools drawing. And the values filled out in operation constraints table are considered by hydraulics, torque and drag, surge and swap models running within our application in a different module called run module. We'll be covering run module in a separate webinar at some point of time. And it's based on these operational limitations that an alarm system would alert operations team if there is any deviation from defined operational limits. Next, I'll explain the pre-operation tab. It covers checks, risks, and other insights to be considered prior to start of operations. These insights are copied over from the template format that we picked for generating this procedure, meaning these can either be unlinked or edited if required from the digital procedure that we are creating. Here you will see example for different types of checks assigned to our 17.5-inch section drilling procedure. These checks are automatically populated based on template structure of the procedure we picked. And additional insights can be added to this tab or picked from the existing library, where they are assigned to either tools or types of activity being planned. And once these pre-operation checks have been completed by the position responsible, they can either be signed off digitally in the application or within the printed PDF version of the procedure. Next up, I'll explain the operations tab. On the left side of the view, we see high-level information in terms of activities and sub-activities planned for a 17.5-inch section drilling. Keep in mind, this is the structure copied over from our template base. So as per operational requirement, we can either change order of different procedure steps or add new steps from this list of standardized procedure steps, which is based on most common drilling and completion activities. So this list is set up by default in our software, and based on the client requirement or based on the operator's operations, we customize this list. Let's pick a typical example of an activity. I'll select circulate hole clean here, which has a combination of sub-activities like circulation, of course, and reciprocating while circulating, and a flow check post circulation. If we see that there is a sub-activity missing, I can select it from the drop-down list, which is a separate list, and just include it in my procedure being drafted. So I've just selected a marked drill pipe, a manual activity, and made it part of one of my sub-activities. Moving to the detailed section of the procedure page, there are functionalities allowing user to edit values for different operational parameters like flow rate, RPM, etc. And these are the parameters tied to machine readable commands called tasks. And here you see some example of tasks like increase flow rate using the rig pumps, keep flow rate steady for a duration. And tasks assigned in software tie back to operational parameters, which are further tied back to the automated commands to be executed by the rig machinery. If required, user can configure procedure build page to hide these machine readable tasks in order to focus only on operational parameters. I'll just go ahead and hide the tasks since I want to focus on parameters here. And again, these tasks are set up in application by default as per different operational requirements. Free text information associated with different procedure steps can be added in a rich text box below these operational parameters input. And if there are any insights linked to this procedure step or equipment, they will reflect automatically, else user can select relevant insights from a drop-down selection available right here. So I can go ahead and add a check from an existing library of checks set up in the software, or I can add a new check right here and assign it to a relevant, it could be either a tool or it could be all these selection available right here. Next up, the user can also define planned time for each of these activities so that operations forecast can be based upon total time planned for different procedures in sequence. So the application takes into account total time for different activities planned within a procedure and tell in the dashboard what's the total time planned for executing this activity. Comments section, which is placed next to this plan time input, make this application a better collaboration tool. So the service providers can review information within this procedure, meaning everyone works on one platform, eliminating need for different versions of digital procedure flying through the emails. Now that we have edited our draft version based on a template, let's save this procedure for our planned running operation. This is an online cloud solution, the one I'm demonstrating now, and if required for rig crew use, we can also generate PDF format of our procedure. So finally, let's look at a PDF format. And this format is quite similar to the existing format that rig personnel are used to, with the header information and a list of approvers. For this particular rig team, I had defined 3 approvers for this procedure, but you can set it up to 9 approvers if required. So for this particular webinar, I demonstrated the functionality to develop a procedure from a template set. And for the upcoming ones, we will cover workflows for creating a digital procedure from a string design and from a wellbore by assigning it to a phase within these wellbores. In this slide, I'll explain lifecycle of the digital procedure within Exebenus Pulse application. A user would generate a procedure either from a template set of procedures or generate one from a string or wellbore. For today's webinar, we focused on functionality to build a draft procedure from a template. In this case, template procedure was copied as draft. As a draft version, we can edit and update the procedure and assign it to a new operation. After updating operational parameters and associated information, procedure is moved into the planned state. Here, it is available in read-only state, pending review by approvers, which could be one or many, based on how we have defined it in the administration module. An approver can further either set it to the approved state or revert it back to draft state for further changes. Finally, once this procedure has been executed, and after action review is conducted so that learning from executed procedure can be included in the template set for benchmarking, thereby closing the loop. Summarizing the workflow discussed today for building procedure from a template set, I showed you a structured setup for procedure steps and associated sub-activities on the left side. We looked at functionalities allowing user to add details for different procedure steps, updating parameters and associated text information, and assigning insights easily. As I mentioned, there are different workflows for generating the procedure. Today, we focused on building our procedure from a template, and there are 2 other workflows, one from developing it from string, and lastly from the wellbore. So by building procedure through the workflow explained today, we looked at a way to build operating procedure efficiently and easily. I've also managed to show you ways to easily incorporate lessons learned and insights so that they are available in real time during the procedure execution on the rig side. How standard templates increase consistency and communication between the rig personnel and the office base. How embedded approval process simplifies the collaboration between office and rig. That's all I had for this webinar today. Thanks for your attention.
Again, appreciate very much the time you've taken. And with that, I'll say thank you very much. And I'm going to close this session. Thank you and goodbye.